The year is 1941, the location, Britain. But if you've got a keen eye, you'll notice something odd. All the clocks are showing the same time, 11 a.m. Why is that? Well, because all the important people are having a meeting about a rule, a weird rule, a rule that makes no sense. This is Bletchley Park, and these men are code breakers. They work in relative obscurity to crack codes, breaking down ciphers so that the British can stay one step ahead of the bad guys. You've probably heard of them before, especially the famous ones like Alan Turing. During World War II, he and his team cracked the Enigma code, a breakthrough that not only shortened the war, but also laid the foundation for modern computers. But did you know that they also cracked another code? Not just any code, but one that made absolutely no sense. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true, and the story behind it will blow your mind. So let's get to it. Meet Colonel John Tiltman, head of the British Naval Code and Cipher Office, a man who looks like he's starring in a period drama. He leads the efforts to break the naval codes of Germany's enemies. Now, John has always been the picture of composure. When faced with tricky situations in the past, he had remained cool and calm, finding elegant solutions. But now, his face is pale and drawn, his eyes wide with disbelief. He runs a hand through his thinning hair and lets out a long sigh. He's just gotten a message from his German counterpart, a message that does not make any sense. We need to talk about Enigma. If you're not already familiar with Enigma, it's basically a fancy typewriter that creates ciphers nearly impossible to decode. The Nazis use it to communicate their battle plans and other sensitive information, which poses a serious threat to the British. As the war drags on, it becomes clear that to win, they must decipher Enigma. Breaking the Enigma code is a massive challenge, much like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But John Tiltman and his team at Bletchley Park are up for the task. After months of hard work, they finally succeed in December of 1932. It's a moment of triumph, but they must keep it a secret for the sake of the operation. For the next few years, the code breakers at Bletchley Park worked tirelessly to keep the British one step ahead of the Germans. In May 1941, things take a turn for the worse. Germany declares war on the United States, and the pressure is on to crack the Enigma code even faster. John Tiltman knows that this is a critical moment in history, and he has determined to rise to the occasion. At the same time, miles away in Poland, the Germans are making their own breakthroughs. They discovered that the Polish had broken the Enigma code and were trying to warn them. But it was too late. Now they knew that the code was compromised and needed to change it. They quickly implemented changes to make it nearly impossible to decipher. The code breakers at Bletchley Park are undeterred. They knew that they would have to start from scratch and it would be a tough battle. But they were up for the challenge. Meanwhile, back in Germany, the Nazi leadership is feeling confident. They believe that their new and improved Enigma code is unbreakable and that the Allies will never be able to decipher it. But they couldn't be more wrong. John Tiltman and his team at Bletchley Park were hot on the trail of the Enigma code, and they wouldn't stop until they had it cracked. They worked day and night to develop new methods and technologies that would allow them to break the code, and it wasn't easy. The Germans kept changing the code, making it more and more difficult to decipher. But the code breakers were up to the task. As the war raged on, the stakes got higher and higher. The Germans began using the Enigma code to plan their most important operations, including the invasion of D-Day. If the Allies could decipher the code, it could save countless lives. The pressure was immense, but the code breakers remained focused. Finally, in 1945, after years of hard work and dedication, they broke the code. It was a moment of triumph that would go down in history. The Allies were now able to read German messages, which gave them the upper hand in the war. This helped to shorten the war and save countless lives. The impact of cracking the Enigma code cannot be overstated. It truly was a pivotal moment in history. But what if we told you that there was another secret code that was broken during the war? A code that was even more baffling than Enigma. A code that didn't make any sense at all? After the fall of France, the British had captured a German submarine, the U-boat. Inside, they found a strange device that looked like a radio, but it wasn't transmitting any messages. The mystery was intriguing and the British were determined to solve it. After careful examination, they discovered that the device was actually a code generator, a machine that produced a series of seemingly random letters and numbers. But it was this peculiarity that made it so fascinating. The code seemed to have no logic, no rhyme or reason to it. It was as if the Germans had simply thrown a bunch of letters and numbers at the wall and hoped that something would stick. The British code breakers were baffled. They tried everything they could think of to decipher the code, but it seemed to be unbreakable. Days turned into weeks and still the code remained a mystery. Then one day, someone noticed something strange. The code seemed to change every day, but it followed a pattern. With this realization, the race was on to decipher the code. The pressure was intense and the stakes were high. The Germans were using the code to communicate their most important military secrets. If the British could decipher it, they could gain valuable intelligence on German movements. The code breakers worked tirelessly, analyzing the patterns and trying to find the key to the puzzle. Finally, after weeks of work, they had a breakthrough. They realized that the code was based on the weather. Each day the code would change based on the weather conditions in Germany. For example, if it was sunny in Berlin, the code would start with S. If it was raining, the code would start with R. It may sound silly to us now, but at the time it was brilliant. Once the British understood how the code worked, they were able to predict what the next day's code would be. They were now one step ahead of the Germans and it was a major victory. The British were able to use the intelligence gained from the code to great effect, disrupting German plans and saving countless lives. The story of the weather code is a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the British code breakers. They faced an almost impossible task and came out on top. But what makes the story even more remarkable is the fact that the code didn't make any sense. The Germans had created a code based on something as simple as the weather, and yet it took some of the brightest minds in Britain weeks to figure out. It's a reminder that sometimes the most complex problems have the simplest solutions. The story of the weather code is a hidden gem in the history of World War II. It's a lesser-known tale of espionage and intrigue that deserves to be told. So what do you think? Did you enjoy this glimpse into the world of secret codes and hidden heroes? We sure enjoyed bringing it to you, but our work here isn't done yet. There are countless other stories like this waiting to be uncovered and shared with the world. And that's where you come in. If you're as passionate about history and code breaking as we are, then hit that subscribe button and join us on our mission to bring you the most amazing, untold stories from the past. Together, we can uncover the secrets of history and bring them to life in ways that inspire and amaze. So what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and let's explore the past together.